Hello everybody. Today we're going to be reviewing Miles Morales for the PS5. And it is a great game. That is the entire review. It's just a good game. Okay guys, great first video. Let's get out of here. Okay, let's explain that a little bit. So, Miles Morales is a video game that deals with how Miles Morales from the previous Spider-Man game develops into his own Spider-Man. And it is basically a retread on the first game, but we'll get to that in the story section. We're going to review gameplay. If you have never played Spider-Man, you wouldn't know what you're expecting. And for the most part, it's the same as that game. So it is a little bit of a remix of the Arkham fighting style. I would never consider them to be the same, but it is an evolution. For instance, Batman is big and he feels heavy to use for most of the time. Spider-Man feels very flexible with the ability to leap and knock people up in the air and keep them there as long as possible. And he's, for the most part, a little more creative in the way he takes out his enemies. Now, how does that evolve into Miles' story? Um, he is very powerful. He is way stronger than the original Spider-Man, and it shows with his gameplay. And that goes with the two main features that he has that the other Spider-Man doesn't, and that is the invisibility and the venom. So the invisibility is also known as camouflage, and it really changes the way you play this game for the most part. So the camouflage allows you to at any point go invisible and make the enemies not forget you're there, but it resets their aggro so that they don't go after you as much because they don't know where you are. So you can start picking them up one by one like you were doing before the fight started. In the gameplay that I'm going to be showing you today, you're going to see a wide use of these abilities. For instance, you're going to see me knocking them all into a place with a gadget and then knocking them up in the air and using a Venom Strike power, which lifts them all up in the air and you can just beat on them while they're in the air. Now, the Venom power kind of also has the same, I guess you can say, reaction that the electric gloves and the electric web in the original game had, where it stuns enemies for a little bit. Now, this also does heavy damage because it's also just a powerful strike by itself. Now, and it is a little broken. Like, it takes almost nothing to get your Venom back. In most fights, you'll be able to do as many as like 10 Venom attacks, and that's only if you drag it out, because for the most part, you can take these people down pretty quick. Even when I first started, it wasn't that hard to get the Venom Strike up. The only problem was you could only hold one at a time, and by the end of the game, you can hold up to 3 Venom attacks. And even then, if you like sprinkle in a couple of normal attacks here and there, that goes up as well. Now, it feels really fun to pull off some of these moves, and they look really flashy. You can probably see that in the screen right now. And it's fun. It just feels fun to beat on people. And like I said, at any time, you can go invisible, and it makes them say where they go. And as you can see, I just took out 2 guys here. And they didn't know I was there because I went invisible and I waited long enough. Now, it's pretty good. I think it's actually a really good system, and I wonder how they're going to evolve Peter's gameplay for the next game, or if they're just going to separate these two into their own missions where each of their abilities kind of make more sense. So, another big difference is the amount of gadgets Miles has. Well, obviously with Venom and Camouflage, they had to nerf him somehow, so they gave him less gadgets. And they work pretty well with, okay, I would say probably two of them work really well with your, I guess you can say current abilities. The hollow drones are useless. I don't really like them. And the trip mines are good for stealth, but during normal fights, they're not really that useful. Um, so I guess, yeah, two out of the three work really well. And then the web shooters I barely consider to be a gadget because they just seem to be something you normally would have equipped if you don't already have one of those other two equipped. The hollow drones are very useless. They're funny to just put out and have people get off you, but in this game, by the end of it, you're not going to really have any time where you're going to be overwhelmed and need the hollow drones. If anything, you just put all three of them out in a big fight and just, you know, just start doing your own thing. It takes some people off of you, but not enough that it would make a big difference in the fight. And yeah, overall, I like the way he plays, and I like all of the abilities he has. Now, traversal. It's Spider-Man. If you like swinging around the city, you're gonna like this. They did incorporate the Venom jump into it, so you can gain more altitude in the middle of a swing, or a fall, and it feels good to pull off. But for the most part, most of the mechanics of how you traverse the city are the same as Peter's, with that added Venom ability, and it does make it flow more. So I'm not going to complain about it. It's good, and nothing else to say there. Now let's move on to the story. It's no surprise, and a lot of people have heard it by now. This game is short. If you do nothing but the main story quests as soon as they're available, you can probably finish this game in 5 hours. If you take your time or want to 100% the game, probably 20. That's including the New Game Plus playthrough where you just do it for the platinum. It really does not take that much time to beat this game. And that is a problem, but at the same time, you enjoy all 20 of those hours. The original Spider-Man was longer, but a lot of its added padding felt like it was kind of boring towards the end, specifically when you had to grind out crimes. You had to do 5 crimes for each faction in almost every district, and that was a little boring. It was okay to wait for the next mission and do some of those crimes, but for the most part, I really wish there was like a way for you to spawn a crime, because there were times where went by towards the end where I was done with everything and I just had to grind out the crimes, and I wanted to spawn them, which they did do something about that in this game. They gave you the Friendly Neighborhood Spider app, which is part of the story. This is how he differentiates himself to Peter. They make an app, and they can contact Spider-Man through this app. And for us players, that means we can spawn crimes whenever we need to. In other words, we're bored, let's spawn a mugging. We're bored, let's spawn a car chase. We're bored, let's do a side mission again, because it's great. Nothing about this app is a negative. It flows really well with the game. Now, let's move on to the contents of the story. If you played the original, this is the same story in terms of theming. And it can be a little bit of a grind to get through. But here's the thing. It's shorter, so it's kind of like all the important parts of the Spider-Man story from the original game, but rushed through. I did not develop feelings for the main villain almost at all. I got what it meant to Miles, but I personally did not feel anything. And that sucks, because I felt something with Octavius. And I feel that the reason it was like that is because they didn't want to waste too much time, because they needed to make this a shorter game. And I feel like they could have expanded on it a little bit more. And if you liked the original game, you're gonna like this one in terms of story as well. And the length isn't that big of a deal until we get to the big factor, the price. The price is $50 for this game. $70 if you want the Spider-Man 1 remastered, which I suggest you go for that deal. But if you like Spider-Man, you're going to buy this game no matter what, so I suggest grabbing the $70 one so you can get the first game but looking prettier. If you do not want to do that because you're like, I'm going to wait a bit, a lot of Sony's exclusives, give it like a couple months, will go down in price. You're going to be able to get this game for probably $20, but it's been a month, so probably like 2 more months, maybe 3. So if you want to wait that long, you can. But it's a great launch game. And if you're on PS4, you can still play this game. It's not going to look as pretty, but you get a free upgrade to the PS5 version once you get one. Because I know it's a little hard to secure one at this time. I was lucky to get mine, but that's just how it goes. I recommend this game for the most part, and I do not hate the fact that I bought it. And I hope that you all enjoy it as well. And hope that this review was insightful and helpful for some people. Now we're gonna have to move on to the next section, which is my hi, how's it going? I'm Forestian. I'm new here. I know that this is a little weird and this is a little slow paced and probably not as informative. For the most part, I needed to just get out there and make a video. I hope to get better with time, but as it is, if I didn't do something, I was just going to sit here and do nothing for this because I kept telling myself that I'm not good enough, blah, 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 stuff like that. But you all start somewhere. Everyone started somewhere. And I can't just beat myself up over it. Like the Angry Video Game Nerd started by yelling at the camera about Jekyll and Hyde. I'm just going to start talking about Spider-Man. And we'll see how that goes. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Comment down below on what's your favorite Spider-Man game and or what's your favorite Spider-Man movie, comic, or TV show. And let me know how I can improve, or if you want to suggest a different way of formatting these videos. I did run into some issues with this because of Vegas not wanting to work with me, but I hope to get better with it over time. And yeah, hope to see you guys next time. See ya.